Out of 500 people sampled, 380 had kids. Based on this, construct a 90% confidence interval for the true population proportion of people with kids. Give your answers as decimals to 3 places. All right, so we want to find a 90% confidence interval. So if you're able to use the calculator, there are functions that can do this for you relatively easily. In this case, 1propzint is the function that will do that. So 1propzint is a function in the calculator that takes just a few inputs and will output the confidence interval for you. So if you hit stat, come over here to tests, and down to 1propzinterval, so it's down a little ways, it needs 3 pieces of information. It needs the number of items that favor your event in the sample. So we had 380 people that had kids out of 500 couples total. Then confidence level, that was given as 90%, so 0.9, that's fine, leave that alone. Then we hit calculate, and it comes right up with the confidence interval, so 0.729 and 0.791. All right, so that's that. If you need to use formulas, let me show you how the formulas work here. So the formulas, to come up with a confidence interval, what you do is take your value p hat plus or minus a margin of error. So really it comes down to just calculating this margin of error. And the margin of error is a bit difficult to get sometimes. It's a critical value based off of a given level of confidence times the square root of p hat times q hat all over n. So z sub c, this right here, to get this value, you have to do the absolute value of the inverse norm of 1 minus your level of confidence divided by 2. Let's start there. All right, so our level of confidence in this case is 90%, so 1 minus 0.9. So that's 1 minus c. And then we divide that by 2. So that's 0.05. All right, so now what I need to do is I need to take the inverse norm of that function. So second in vars, come down to inverse norm of 0.05. The mean and standard deviation I'll leave as 0 and 1 since I'm on a standard normal distribution. If you didn't see this menu show up, that's okay. Just type in 0.05 and press enter. Either way, you should get to this point and get an answer of, we're going to make it 1.645 because it's a absolute value. All right, so we have our 1.645. We have our critical value. Now we're going to multiply that by p hat. Now p hat is we don't know exactly what p hat is here. We have the number of items that favor our event and the number of items out of the sample. So if we take the number of items that favor our event divided by that sample size, that would actually give us what p hat is. So p hat we have to come up with, in this case, 380 divided by 500. So that is 0.76. So it's 0.76 times q hat. Well, q hat is 1 minus p hat. So 1 minus 0.76 is 0.24. So 0.24, and then divide by the square root of n, which is our sample size of 500. Then all of this goes into the calculator. So 0.645 times the square root, 0.76 times 0.24, divided by 500. Oops, I missed a 0. There we go. And we've got 0.031. Now, the confidence interval is p hat plus or minus that margin of error. So it would be 0.76 plus or minus 0.031. I don't know why I was writing a 4 there. So 0.31. And let's see what we come up with. So if I take 0.76 minus 0.031, and then 0.76 plus 0.031, that gives me the endpoints of my interval, 0.729 and 0.791 respectively. So that's how you would do it through formulas.